Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra 3 weeks later. Now, before we continue on, I want to mention that I do use this phone in a case. You just don't see it in the video. I am using the leather case. You can see I already got a little bit of damage on it, just regular leather wear. So it does go in this case right here. In addition, I do use the Samsung S Pen case. This one is a little bit wider, and you can see it definitely has some usage right there. You could see S Pen right there. That does give it a lot of functionality. This is the case I've been using like 95% of the time. And I do use this for protection, the Unicorn Beetle case from Supcase. So I'll leave a link to all these cases down below if you want to check it out. But if you want to know which one I've been using the most, it's been this one right here, the extended S Pen case, because I really love the S Pen that comes with this Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra. It does make it more of a complete all experience, because then you can go ahead and take notes on the screen and things like that instead of having to use a Galaxy Note device. So let me tell you why I like the body of this phone so much. So Phantom Black #1. Now, it's not just the color and the marketing materials and things like that. It's actually how Samsung has decided to cover the whole back in this material. It keeps from top to bottom the phone super clean all the time. Even around the camera housing, you'll notice that it's covered in this stuff, so it just stays super clean all the time. Even if you're not using a case with this phone, you're just using a screen protector or whatever. The edges of this phone, because they're black, the aluminum, it doesn't really look that smudgy either on the edges, so it does a good job repelling all types of, just not looking nasty. The phone just stays clean and fresh most of the time. The biggest thing you'll have to be concerned about is just wiping your screen down, which is, it's glass, so that's normal. Now let's go ahead and pop in here. I will say that the Galaxy S21 Ultra is on the heavier side, so if you're definitely not into big phones, this one you're not going to be into either. But if you're looking at this video, you're probably very interested in the S21 Ultra. So I will say the weight is up there, but it's definitely fine. It makes it feel worth every penny. So I just really like the body of this device. I think it's a big upgrade over the S20 Ultra, and I think they kind of fixed everything that was wrong about that phone. The camera hum doesn't look as huge anymore. It looks a lot cleaner than that device, just overall refined, and I'm really excited to see where this series goes next. And another thing I've been extremely impressed by as well is the Gorilla Glass Victus. I've been looking this over and I have not obtained any little micro scratches or anything. I'm not saying this is scratch proof, it probably isn't, but it definitely isn't actually, but I've been, wiping it down and putting it in my pocket, and most phones I've had would have scratched by now. This phone has not scratched whatsoever on the glass or the edges, making this thing something I could say is very durable. However, of course, I would still recommend a screen protector for the long-term use, but I'm just gotta say that they've done a good job of putting Gorilla Glass Victus on the rear and the front. And this phone does have capabilities of IP68, so you're good with these splashes and dust and things like that as well. So the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra has the best display on a smartphone today, and I've realized that after using this thing for 3 weeks. Now, I knew it from the start, it was amazing, but I've truly seen why. The first reason is that this display can now be in WQHD Plus at 3200 by 1440p at 120 Hertz all day long. But why this phone has an even better experience is because it can do that while still getting through the entire day on battery, and that's running it at full blast. You cannot say that about every other phone. The next reason I really love this phone's display is because its vivid mode and natural mode are extremely different. So if we go to natural, it gives that person who wants that more plain, accurate color look, it gives them what they want. Now, if I go back to settings and you're like, what happened to Samsung displays being super saturated? When I put it in vivid mode, this phone now becomes as saturated as ever. It's what you expect from a Samsung device. So definitely that's another great experience. The next one is that if we're watching a video, say we're watching Galaxy S21 5G a few days later, it doesn't match the lens on the rear. Now the next thing, it does have one of the closest to all screen displays on the market. You can see a little tiny punch hole up there. It's just a combination of backward downgraded. Now it's no Z Fold, definitely not that, but definitely a very thin chin right here, and it gives you basically an all-screen display in your hand without any obtrusion, so a very nice touch. Next, it does have a little bit of a curve here, but it's so slight on this phone right here that you won't even probably have a problem with it. It's very slight, and some people are saying that they actually prefer the curve. It gives it a more premium feel. So overall, I mean, there's just not a lot to complain about with a display like this. You're getting so much in this package, and I think it's the best display on the market today, and it's very large, to say that. Now, I wish they would have this display on the smaller phones, but they decided to go with a little bit of a less higher quality on the regular S21, but this display, pretty amazing here for the S21 Ultra. So discussing the platform, news just broke, I think it was yesterday, that Samsung is going to be supporting Samsung phones from 2019 going forward in software for 4 years, at least for security updates. Now this one should get 3 years of major updates as well. And let me tell you what I like about the software so far. I like the One UI 3.1 updates. It makes this Samsung phone come to a level of refinement I've never seen before. The translucent notification tray, just the way the icons look in the setting menu, and then going back home, everything feels super clean, and it still has that, very, rich feature software. So if we go into settings, we go into advanced features, Samsung is still throwing it on you, giving you all that stuff you want. And I will say it still can be overwhelming for a user who hasn't used a Samsung device before. But for those of you who are pretty familiar with this by now, this is the most minimal, the most clean feel Samsung has ever had on a phone. And because they offer an S Pen accessory, now for the S phone, you can have your cake and eat it too, meaning you could have your favorite S phone with some of those Note features. Now, granted, it doesn't give you all those Bluetooth features like you get with the Galaxy Note, but it does give you basically the essential S Pen things you would need to have a great experience here on day-to-day. And I find it very useful to use the notes here. Like, say you're going to jot down a number here, 502. Don't call this number. This is not a real number. That I'm just making it up. But definitely right here, this is a very good option to have. And I just like how it brings all those app pairs. It brings great multitasking. It brings split screen. It brings all the features you would want. The S Pen, it is the complete software experience, at least from a Samsung perspective, and it's giving you a nice longevity of software updates on top of that. So how much more could you ask for in the software? I would say the only downside is that if you don't like the Android platform, you might have to get used to this. And if you don't like an overly feature-rich software, this might not be for you. But other than that, I think most users are going to love what Samsung brought here on the S21 Ultra. If I go to the storage, 128 gig, I didn't go with the highest storage, so I'm not complaining that, that my storage is running out internally. I did go with the lower capacity because I didn't know how good this phone was going to be, so I didn't go with the higher, capacity. But at the same time, I'm a little bit sad, actually very sad, that they got rid of the SD card. I've been switching my SD card over from my previous Samsung phones every time a new flagship phone came out, with the exception of the folding devices. They don't have it in there, but I like to switch it around because that's where I store all my photos. And now it's not here no more. They've gotten rid of it. And I think this is a mistake because I think for the S21 Ultra, I'm pretty sure that people buying this phone have been using SD cards before. This is more of a power user's device right here. And it's definitely a letdown, but there are some things that make up for it, especially we'll talk about in the camera section. But yeah, I'm just a little bit disappointed with not having, that storage, that the expandable storage, but at least it does have the fastest storage on an Android phone, and it does have UFS 3.1, USB-C 3.2, so transfer speeds are rocket fast, so at least that's good about this device. Okay guys, so when it comes to performance, you've seen in my speed test that the S21 Ultra can fly through everything, and this is one of the areas that people are also raving about this phone, is that it doesn't lag with anything, and it's absolutely true. This is the smoothest Samsung phone ever created, and I could attest to that. It's been fantastic. 12 gigabytes of RAM. You can get it up to 16 gigs if you need a little bit more RAM. You can get it there, and you'll get 512 gigabytes as well. So this is pretty much a powerhouse if you go to the 16 gig of RAM. This is the Snapdragon 888, and this is the 12 gig of RAM version, but I haven't had any issues. This can run all your favorite titles and games just fine. It can, and even when you pop out of here, it's super smooth. It runs all the applications. I will say that if you have a lot of applications open at once, it can potentially reload something here and there, but it's not very common. Overall, it can definitely take advantage of the power it has, and it's always smooth all the time. And when it comes to the camera system, I'm not going to go over the specs. You can read a spec sheet. I'll leave a spec sheet down below. But this one right here, just look at the size of these cameras. I mean, they're just absolutely massive. You could see it on this case as well. Just huge circles. I mean, if you look at this and you look at our phone, just by the size and the sheer look of the camera, even compared to the smaller S21 Plus, you're just gonna think this has the best cameras on a phone. It just looks that way when you look at it. And the lenses are actually getting about the size as like a point and shoot camera lens. It's getting pretty close there. Look at that circle in the middle of this Sony ZV-1 right here. Not far off there on that Samsung device. So really looks professional, really looks amazing. And then when we talk about the actual camera software, my best way to describe this after 3 weeks is the versatility is unmatched on this phone, especially from its direct competitor in the iPhone. You can see right here, if we go into 3x, that's amazing. You can also go 10x. You can't even see, it's blurry right now, but 100x. The backing out to point X. And then over here is where you really start to see its versatility, is if we go to more. Now look at all these features here. We got the Pro mode. I actually used the director's view for a video the other day where I was showing my face inside of the content as well. Pretty amazing. And you could also split this. You can go like this. You can split this between different views. Extremely versatile and extremely creative type of tools you do have available to your disposal with this device. But if we go to the front, you also have a pretty amazing front-facing camera as well. This camera on the front is a 40 megapixel camera, and it could shoot 4K 60 video on the front. I will say it looks a little bit softer than the rear. They don't perfectly match up, but I gotta say, man, super versatile. And I don't really want to talk much more about this camera. It can do 8K video. I just want to show you the shots I've taken on it, the video I've taken on it, and you can go ahead and decide for yourself how good you think this camera is. Okay, so we're on a walk here, taking a quick look at that rear facing video. UHD, no super steady. This is kind of how it will perform here. Looks pretty fantastic. Let me know your thoughts down below. All right guys, so here's a quick first impression of the front facing video, UHD 30. I can tell you it looks pretty stable, and the audio that comes out of it is also quite nice as well. So let me know your thoughts on S21 Ultra when it comes to that front facing video. So here is some video quality with the Galaxy S21 Ultra at nighttime. There you go. And this is what you can expect in a low lit environment. Galaxy S21 Ultra at nighttime. Pretty decent, but of course, the better the lighting, the better the quality will be. This is some more UHD 30 from the Galaxy S21 Ultra. You can see it's very sharp when we do have good lighting. So 3 weeks later in the battery life, here's what I can tell you. If you're running the QHD Plus at the 120 Hertz, you're gonna charge this thing every night. If you're using the camera heavy for 3-4 hours at a time, you're gonna charge this before the day ends. But if you're using like a regular heavy user, apps all day, messaging all day, camera here and there, this phone, full blast, is getting through an entire day of usage. That's full blast, 120 hertz, QHD, everything, you know, running it pretty bright as well. It's getting through the whole day. Now, if you start tweaking settings down, you're going to stretch into 2 days on this phone. So incredible battery life for all the features that are stuffed in here. A 5,000 milliamp means that it should hold on to that capacity for quite some time as well. I wouldn't be too concerned about that, but I've been impressed with the battery life for everything you get on this phone. And this phone also has incredible fast charging. You can get a wireless charging trio to charge your Galaxy Buds with this, as well as the phone and a watch at the same time. The Buds can connect extremely fast. I will be covering the Galaxy Buds Pro in a separate episode, but just the whole overall battery experience with this has been phenomenal. I will say that going from 100 to 90, it does drop a little faster than I've seen on other phones, like, you know, Pixel and iPhone can seem to stay on 100 forever. But this phone from 100 to 90, it always drops a little faster, but it does start to slow way down after that. And I think even if you're watching videos throughout the day, you're on social media throughout the day, you're going to make it here on the S21 Ultra. So I have no qualms in recommending this in terms of battery life. Now, stereo sound and audio does have Dolby Atmos again. This level of sharpness, it does a sharpening effect. So if you like sharp photos, you're gonna really like what the S21 does. If you like more of a warm tone, I think you might. Let me tell you, they are loud and they are full, especially when you toggle on the Dolby Atmos feature. Let's go over here. You'll see it right here. You definitely want to toggle this on if you want the Dolby Atmos feature. And again, I don't want to go too far with this because I'm going to cover these separately, but the Galaxy Buds Pro, when you are wearing these within the wearable application for these devices right here, you can feel like you have such an immersive loud audio experience with this as well, with this super refined software right here for the Galaxy Buds Pro. The main thing is to go to equalizer, and you could change it between the different types of sound you do want. So the audio experience all around this device has definitely been taken into account by Samsung, and you will not be let down here either. You will be let down if you're looking for a headphone jack that usually is featured on their cheaper devices like this A51 right here. A52 should be coming in shortly. But yeah, you're not going to get that here, a headphone jack, but you do get very fast Bluetooth connections. Now, Samsung always shuts it down here in phone call quality, giving you some of the best reception you're going to find on a phone, including having full strength bars in a lot of areas. You will have 5G performance on here as well. Let me turn that Wi-Fi off. And this is going to be some of the fastest 5G on a phone, and likely to connect faster than most phones out there. So they're shutting it down when it comes to, you know, this overall, you know, being a great phone as well as a smart computer in your pocket. Samsung has been doing this great for a while, and this phone is no exception, with very loud speakerphone performance as well. So if you're the type of person who holds this up and you're talking on the phone, you're going to hear people just fine. And if you are out in, you know, more, you know, non-urban areas, you shouldn't have too much of an issue getting a decent signal on this phone as well. And there's a couple other things that make this a total overall package. The new smart tags for this device, you know, they do work with the SmartThings application, and they help you find your keys as well as find your phone. If you lose your phone, just grab your keys and you'll be able to find it nearby on a map. So they're really overhauling the ecosystem, and that thing right there can be changed, I think, with a CR2032 battery. So it's not like it dies and that's it, you're done, you gotta buy another one. Nope, that right there can be changed with a battery. Pretty sweet with that. In addition, we didn't talk about the in-display fingerprint sensor, which seems to have been improved because every time I tap it, it seems to want to open every time. So I think it's one of the more refined versions of that in-display fingerprint they've done. And if you look at the phone, I'm not sure if it's going to see me behind the camera. It didn't see me right now. Let me see, it's being blocked. Let me go ahead and look at the phone right here. You'll see it goes right in as well. So you have that. You also have DeX. You can do this wirelessly on this phone. You can also use a wire. You can use like a HDMI to your monitor if you want. I find the HDMI to the monitor more easy, more reliable of a connection because it's being connected by a cable, but you can use it wirelessly if you want to use DeX wirelessly. So 3 weeks later, I'm done here with the Galaxy S21 Ultra when it comes to a review. We basically covered everything. You can see I'm very impressed with this device, and you might be saying, well, you didn't say much about what's bad with it. What are the cons with it? Because I don't think there really is many. If you're in the market for a super large device, this thing pretty much nails everything you would need in a smartphone. The only thing that could be a con is if you just don't personally, which is a subjective thing, like the Samsung software. Because from a hardware perspective, if you want a large phone and you want everything crammed in one, this thing has it. There's just nothing to complain about here. This has got it. You're going to pay a pretty price for this one. It's definitely a high price. But if you're going to keep this phone 4 years, you're getting one of the best ever made. Let me know your thoughts on the Galaxy S21 Ultra. Are you picking one up? Do you plan on picking one up? Are you like, I'm still not sure? Let us know down below in the comments. And if you found this in detail, in-depth 3 weeks later video useful, subscribe for more. I will catch you all in the next one. Nick here. Be sure to be well and peace.